Hello everyone, back tuning into the 13th Christmas update. So since the first day of November, we've been doing Christmas updates very regularly, more or less every other day. Been a little bit of a gap since the 12th one. We did the 12th update on Thursday, and I was busy over the weekend doing all the long range stuff, so didn't get round to doing a Christmas update. So this is the long-awaited and a little bit delayed 13th Christmas update. We're going to go through the CFS 9-monthly forecast at the website meteorseal.fr, see what the latest idea from the CFS model is. Been quite an interesting year of updates, because we've had many more colder solutions and scenarios cropping up around the Christmas period, compared to when we do these updates in previous years. It's probably indicative of the fact that the polar vortex is quite disruptive this year, and we're seeing a fair amount of high pressure influences. So we'll see what the 13th update has to say in a moment. Before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on the page. You have a browse, which is click through links. You'll be able to pay website. Thanks so much for doing that. The shop is open, so if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, all you have to do is click the green button that says Christmas Shop. It takes you to our Christmas Shop page, where you'll be greeted by some snowflakes, so you know you're on the right page. And then from there, click through the Amazon banners. It takes you directly through to Amazon, where you do Christmas shopping as normal. Because you've gone from Gas Office to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on the things that you are buying. And a big thank you to everybody for doing that. So we're using website Meteorseal, as I said. CFS 9-monthly forecast. It was generated yesterday. Also a 24-hour delay on these charts coming through. It's the midday run, so it was generated midday yesterday. We always try and use the same run, which is the midday run, for no particular reason other than that's one that I pick out. So generated midday yesterday, 27th of November. Let's have a look and see what's happening. We're going to start on the 12th of December. We've got a big area of high pressure over the country, and that's bringing a lot of dry, fine and cold weather with frosty conditions. That high pressure sticks around through to the 13th, onto the 14th. There it is, high pressure very much in control. It's drifting to the south a little bit, but away from Scotland and Northern Ireland, where we're pulling up some slightly milder air from the southwest, from the Atlantic. Generally, that will still be very cold and frosty running up to the middle part of December. That high pressure sticks around from the 14th into the 16th. It's starting to move towards central parts of Europe, so maybe allowing slightly milder air to push through into Scotland and Northern Ireland with a little bit of rain. Probably still very frosty with a fair amount of fog probable across England and Wales in particular. Beyond that, we get through to the 17th, and we try to bring a weather system through. That doesn't really come to very much, and then high pressure is just building back in again. So this is perhaps with a slightly milder air mass, but even up to the 19th of December, still loads of high pressure going on. Will be remarkably dry, very much in contrast to December 2015, of course. Just dry, cold, frosty, very frosty month potentially here. This is right, maybe with freezing fog patches as well, taking us up towards the run-up to Christmas. So we go through to the 19th of December, and quite interestingly, the high pressure is in over Scandinavia, so the wind is trying to get round into the east. All looking very slack, so lots of frosty weather here, continuing probably still with freezing fog. We get through towards the 20th on to the 21st, and we're trying to bring a weather system in off the Atlantic. That's coming into fairly cold air, so might be a little bit of wintry weather coming in with that. Maybe a band of rain turning to sleet or snow as it moves in to those colder conditions. Once that's out of the way, high pressure just comes back again as we run up towards Christmas. It's December 23rd. We're back under high pressure again. Flows coming from the east, so it's bound to be cold, and probably just a return of dry and frosty weather. Right, let's go to Christmas itself then. And this is how Christmas Eve is looking on the latest CFS update. So we're bringing wind in from the east. It looks cold. It's not a deeply, severely cold easterly, but it's fairly chilly air mass. There might be a little bit of wintry weather, maybe a little bit of sleet coming in off the North Sea there for Christmas Eve. The main thing is still, I would have thought, quite frosty. We go through to Christmas Day, still looking seasonable. There's some sort of area of low pressure developing in the flow there. Still very slack, so it will still be cold, but a lot of frost around. Temperatures by day excuse me, maybe recovering to slightly closer to average, but generally quite a cold Christmas Day there, maybe with a little bit of wintry potential for the north. And then Boxing Day rounds it all off for the actual Christmas period, still looking cold and frosty, but winds are more from the south, so maybe a little bit less cold there, but I think still a lot of frost around, and maybe with some freezing fog going on as well. And then we run up towards the New Year, so we're up to 27th of December. Looks like we're starting to re-establish the westerlies, and those westerlies do start to come back quite quickly then after Christmas. So this is much milder here. After Christmas, we bring the winds in from the Atlantic, turns wet and windy, particularly so in the north and the west, back to Atlantic-driven weather. However, that doesn't last very long. As we get towards New Year, this is 30th of December, actually we start to pull down some colder air from the northwest again. So New Year's Eve is turning colder, strong northwesterly winds, possibly bringing wintry showers in towards Scotland. Going through to New Year's Day, so it looks on New Year's Day on tonight's update. So it's looking quite cold, really. There'll probably be wintry showers in the north and the east, and I would have thought like to be a frosty start for the first morning of 2017. And then I'll just run you through the first week of January. So that high pressure sticks out to west of us then. The winds going to the north, that's up to bring cold air. Look how cold it's turning across most parts of Europe. Very cold, with a lot of snow through there. We're on the edges of that, possibly bringing some colder air and some wintry showers down onto the eastern side. And that continues through the first week of December. There's some sort of disturbance there in the North Sea. That could bring snow to eastern parts of the country. It just generally stays cold. Looks as though it wants to get itself into quite a severe snowy spell, but it just doesn't quite come off. Most of the coldest of the air and snowiest of weather is kept restricted onto the continent. But by this point, the 9th of January, very, very close run thing, and it really is really close to quite a severe snowy spell of weather. And just generally cold through into the start of 2017. And that's where I'm going to leave you on the 11th of January. And it still looks as though it's very, very close to putting in a bitterly cold easterly wind, potentially a lot of snow. So it's one of those, it's definitely one to put in the cold camp. Again, it is a cold update. Just with lots of frost, nothing particularly snowy up to Christmas. Then a bit milder for a few days after Christmas and then cold again in the new year. And it's one of those, we had a couple of these through the update, so it looks like it wants to do something quite exciting, wants to get itself into a severe snowy spell, but just doesn't quite come off. We just stay cold and frosty throughout, which is perfectly plausible scenario for us. Actually, obviously over on the continent it's much easier to get severe weather with lots of snow and severe cold. For us, close to the Atlantic Ocean, it's much harder. So it is a plausible situation, actually, but we might see it pan out close to this, which is never particularly severely cold, never all that snowy, just generally cold and seasonable. That may be how things pan out, but of course you never know, and it is definitely on the colder option. Very little Atlantic-driven zonal weather, in complete contrast to when we've been doing these updates over the past few years. Right, so that's the 13th update done and dusted. We shall do the 14th update on Wednesday evening, so come back then for the next instalment. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.